88.5 Surf FM is now 4 minutes after the hour of 10 a.m. in Surface and Lucian, of course, the Eastern Caribbean. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Welcome to Thursday's edition, the 16th of October 2025. And of course, with me is no stranger to this platform, Mr. Darnell Bobb, the General Manager of the Forces Jacques Credit Cooperative Society Limited. Good morning unto you, sir.
Good morning, Miss Epifan. In fact, nous, moi, héritage créole, so peut-être nous pouvons faire interview ça. Créole, ça veut dire. Bonjour tout le monde, bonjour, je suis Fouye, bonjour tout le monde qui a écouté nous sur radio, qui a vu nous sur Facebook, YouTube, n'importe côté où vous avez programme là, moi, je souhaite un bonjour. Et moi, je vous remercie pour avoir la chance pour nous parler de peuple là, sur le travail là, Force Jacques Credit Union Café. Bon travail là, Force Jacques Credit Union Café, en commune là.
And of course, yes, it's always a pleasure to have you. How have things been since your last visit?
Oh, well, I mean, my last visit was prior to our AGM. I think we spoke about our scholarship program that we were launching for the first time, the Dominic Prosper Scholarship Program. And since then, we have had the launch. We have awarded the scholarship as well as about 24 bursaries, $500 each to our members who have children going to a secondary school for the first time. So, and of course, one of the most important activities of our calendar year, which is our annual general meeting that we are mandated by law to have every year.
Okay. With that being said, this year marks the Society's 19th annual general meeting. Congratulations for sure on that milestone. And what was the main theme, focus of this year's AGM?
Well, our theme was our credit union, shared vision, shared sacrifice, shared success. And I mean, we chose that primarily because we want to keep emphasizing to persons that the credit union does not belong to Darnell Bobb or Errol Alexander, who is the president, or the staff. The credit union belongs to each and every single member that has joined, that have paid at least $100 worth of permanent shares. You are a member and an owner. And we are approaching, I think we are in the region of 5,000 members as we speak and counting.
What were some of the key highlights or accomplishments shared during the meeting?
All right, well, before I share that with you, let's take people down the path of what a credit union is and why it's necessary to have an AGM. So a credit union falls under the umbrella body of a cooperative, which is a type of organization. And so you have fishermen's cooperative, you have farmers cooperatives, and so on. A credit union is a financial cooperative. And cooperatives are organizations where people come together for a common cause to help their members benefit from a specific set of things that would probably be more difficult to do without them coming together. So the farmers would come together and say, hey, let's put our resources together so we could get the inputs for our farms and labor for our farms and equipment and so on for our farms, or to sell their produce, find a bigger market and so on to sell their produce. Likewise, the fishermen. The credit union is a financial cooperative where members come together to provide financial services to their members. And by financial services, talking about all the services that you would normally get from a bank, from savings to deposits to loans in particular, primarily loans. So cooperatives, credit unions are cooperatives where members come and they decide to put their monies together to be able to assist members when they are in need of funds. And a lot of these cooperatives grew out of, or these credit unions grew out of the need for certain sectors of communities who felt that it was difficult for them to get financial services, either because of their status in society, their financial status, or the occupation that they're into. So, for example, you see farmers and fishermen normally as self-employed persons without a steady income, without a guaranteed income, and their industries are very volatile and very susceptible to being affected by natural disasters and other phenomena. So they were seen traditionally by the traditional financial institutions as being risky. And so to be able to get a loan would have been difficult back then, I must say. And so credit unions are formed. They said, let's put our monies together. May not be much, but if we put our monies together little by little, we can have money to be able to lend a member when he wants to take care of medical emergency, or to build a house, or to buy a car, and whatever their needs are. And so we have seen credit unions grow up, and we have almost, I think, about 15 credit unions or so in St. Lucia. The Forja Credit Union is considered a relatively small credit union, a relatively new credit union compared to the giants like Labrie Credit Union and Janou, formerly CSA. I can't remember what the name was before, but primarily for civil servants. And then you have Monrepo Credit Union, and you have Choiseul Credit Union. So Forja Credit Union is relatively new. As a matter of fact, we knew, but we are going to be celebrating 30 years in existence next year. So this year, in a couple of days, we will be celebrating on the 17th, I think, of October, we'll be celebrating 29 years in existence. And we have grown through leaps and bounds since then, providing tremendous support to our members, and assist them with improving their living standards, being able to access goods and assets that normally would be difficult and probably impossible for them to do so. So like any organization, you have to report to the owners. You have to let them know. We have hired me as a general manager and our staff to do and to put a board in place to develop policy and procedures and processes to accomplish the goals of the organization. But they also want to know that things are running well, and they want to hear what is happening. Are we moving in the direction that we're supposed to be moving in? The members and owners want to have an input in how things can be done better, provide criticisms, listen to external auditors, and so on. So the AGM is really about that. Every year, we are mandated by the law to have an annual general meeting where we invite every single member who is a member of the Forja Credit Union. And we would come and we would report to them of the operations that transpired the previous year. So our AGM this year was really about 2024 operations. So we would start off with our usual open session where we would invite people to come and deliver addresses. So normally our district representative would be invited to deliver some remarks. Unfortunately, for the first time, in her 10 years district rep for 4 years, she was not able to attend, and from very early she apologized and sent her blessings as usual. Of course, it clashed with some of her political activities that are happening around this time. The league, which is the umbrella body for the credit union, was also invited, and they were there and they provided some remarks. You sometimes invite other credit union representatives who would come and share with us in terms of our celebration and our activity. And then we end this open session, and then we go into serious business where the closed session is primarily for members, people who are legitimate members of the credit union, where we present, the board of directors will present the report overall, speaking of the policies that were implemented and the major accomplishments of the organization, the shortcomings, the opportunities and threats, and where the board is looking to take the organization in the future. It is followed by a report by the treasurer, who's responsible for ensuring that the financial statements and the financial activities are in order with regards to the standard financial practices as well as the policies of the board. Then you have the credit committee that will report. The credit committee is a special committee of members elected by the members at AGMs to sit and discuss loans and take decisions on loans up to a particular threshold, and that is set by the board and the bylaws of the credit union. Loans above that would be referred to the board for approval. Then you would have the supervisory committee, which is a very important committee, which is set up almost like internal auditors, and again elected by the members at AGM to be able to ensure that everybody, not just the board and the staff, but even not just the manager and the staff, but also the board is sticking and doing what is mandated by law, by the bylaws, by the act, and so on. So that's a very important body. They come in, they meet, they can show up at any time, they can request documents to make sure that we're doing our loans according to the policy. The board is meeting as planned, the board has its minutes in order, and so on. And to ensure that, like I said, we are following the policies and the bylaws and the laws that govern credit unions. And of course, one of the most important things on that day is the presentation of the audited financial statements by an independent auditor. We are required, like every other credit union, to employ an independent auditor to ensure that we are not just following the standards of reporting financially, to ensure that there's no corruption, hopefully there's no hanky-panky, no things that are happening that shouldn't be happening. And usually you would not have your AGM unless you have your audited statement in place, because it's important to members that they get somebody independent that can report to them. Yes, the organization is performing and it is doing the financial statements within the standards, and we see no sign of corruption and so on. And very importantly, on that day as well, are resolutions passed by the board, by the members. So there are certain decisions that the manager or the board or any committee is not authorized to take. And two of those resolutions that are normally passed at the AGM are a resolution as to how much dividends and patronage refund to pay. So if you make a surplus, there needs to be a decision taken as to what do we do with that surplus, because the money belongs to all members. And so usually there's a decision to divide some of that surplus among its members by way of dividends. So it depends on how much you have invested in permanent shares. You would get based on that. There's a formula used for how much permanent shares you had throughout that same year in question, and the system would calculate and pay you that. So we normally would take a decision based on what percentage to pay. Likewise, patronage refund, as I've said in the past, we also want to reward our members who have taken loans with us and are paying their loans and have paid interest on the loans. We would pay them back some of that interest, something that you don't get in any other financial institution or the type of financial institution. Again, that decision has to be taken by members at an AGM by way of a resolution. I'm pleased to inform you that this year we had one of our best financial years in terms of our surplus. We have been growing ever since we've started, and except for the year of COVID, which really gave us and our members some pressure, and we had to extend all kinds of moratoriums and all kinds of helping hand to our members who had difficulty meeting their loans. So that year we were clearly affected and knocked off from our upward trajectory. So we had a very good year, and so we rewarded our members. We proposed to our members a dividend payout of 9.5%. So you get 9.5% of whatever your permanent shares are, whatever formula is worked out for your permanent shares for that year. And we paid 8.5% in patronage refund. So whatever interest you paid for that year, we pay you 8.5% back. These figures are very impressive, and if you ask around, not many credit unions are paying anywhere close to these numbers. So we like to reward our members for the patronage and the support and the belief and the confidence in the organization, because there are lots of offers all over the place. Loans come here, a promotion there, this, that. But a lot of our members remain true to the credit union because there are benefits beyond just an interest rate. So we had a very good day. Among that, we gave each of our first 100 members who attended the AGM a massive voucher to do some shopping. And throughout the AGM as well, we gave prizes, door prizes based on the tickets that we issued. At the end of the day, we have a dip and so on. So we had a very good, informative day, enjoyable day, and a very successful AGM, if you ask me. Sorry.
Apart from the pronouncements you've made, for sure, are there any new initiatives, policies, or even maybe leadership changes, And you made mention of an upcoming 20th anniversary.
30 years.
30th anniversary. What do you foresee?
Well, it's a significant milestone. And then the board would have already mentioned, even at the AGM, the president mentioned that we would have to start putting something special in place. So it's a bit early to say what we're going to be doing, but clearly we're going to be undertaking a few activities where which would probably be educational, social, and a way maybe of finding a way to reward our members. Who knows? You might just put for our 40th anniversary $30 or something on each member's account. I don't know. It's a bit premature. I'm sure the board will put a committee in place, and we'll hopefully come up with some good ideas to celebrate 30 years of existence.
With what you've outlined, definitely we know there have been an increase with membership, yes. So, what strategies are really being used in terms of young persons who really want to come on board? What or how can it be made more attractive for them?
Well, we rely a lot on members, especially members who have had good experiences in encouraging their friends and their family. So parents usually encourage their children from very early by setting up accounts with them. So that's one way. Generally, you have to recognize the needs of young people. And so if you watch a credit union or credit unions around the world, and certainly Foster Credit Union, where we were 15, 20 years ago in terms of what we offered, what packages we offered, what access we give to our members, that has changed and is changing and will continue to change, not just because of new policies and procedures that are that impact us based on our regulators and the ECCB and so on, but members' needs. What we have recognized is that people no longer want to use a credit union in the traditional way that they use it as a savings, a place where I just going to save a little something. I'll send a little bit of my salary. I'll go once a week or once a month and put a little something, just a little something at the end of the after I've done everything else and put all the money somewhere. People are recognizing more and more that there are significant benefits financially and otherwise to them to be members of credit unions. As I've said before, dividends, patronage refund, these things they don't get in the traditional financial services. But for them to be able to send more money to us, particularly young persons, they want access to the money. They want 24-hour access. Yes, I could send you all my money or more money, but what if I want my money at the night I go out and I run short of money? Can I have access to my money? You know? So hence the reason why you would see credit unions are going into, and we have gone into the ATM card. And now we're looking, as I've been saying for a while now, we're looking to go into the international debit card. So persons can actually not just get money from a machine, but can actually do online shopping or shop at a supermarket or anywhere that offers that kind of service. So we are moving in that direction. Clearly, we are a bit behind in terms of our plans to go into the online banking where people can access and see their balances and make transfers and so on online. I mean, these technologies and these things are costly, so you have to clearly weigh the cost benefit analysis. Bearing in mind that we are a small credit union, can we afford it? Because there are significant costs in setting it up as well as in a recurring cost in doing that. So we are looking to be able to attract those young persons to provide that. Very importantly as well, what are young persons interested in buying nowadays or taking loans for? Clearly, from our records and from what you see, a lot of young people are interested first and foremost in a vehicle, you know? And now it has become not just a vehicle, but a hybrid vehicle or an electric vehicle. So we're looking to have a special very soon that will provide for persons who are looking to buy that kind of vehicle. And we would probably extend it more because people are also looking into solar power as a much cheaper source of energy. And so that loan or separate loan promotion will be provided for that. Young people like to go on vacation, and people like to go to Dominica for Creole Festival and so on, and they're looking for it. So you have to continuously assess what young people are interested in terms of financial services and types of loans and so on, access to their money and so on, and to be able to provide that for them if you want to remain relevant and attractive.
Which is true. If we were to look at challenges and, of course, opportunities as well, every organization faces their challenges, you know. What have been some of the main challenges faced by the credit union?
Two that come to mind. and one is clearly a feature of that kind of business, which and that is delinquency. A lot of members come and they take loans and they're not able to pay it, or they don't pay it for all kinds of reasons. Some of them legitimate, some of them because somebody may have lost their job, they have an emergency, and so on. These we understand. But a member who comes and takes a loan and deliberately can't pay, but refuses to pay and is dodging you and is running around trying their best to avoid paying their loan, these things are a serious challenge for any financial institution, because you would have to make what is called a provision for it every month and every year. And it simply means assess your loan portfolio and look at the possibility of members not paying their loans and how much you would lose from a member not paying their loan or members not paying their loan, and provide for it. Put in a form of an expense, a bad debt expense, and that has an impact on your books. So, Jack, for example, suffered tremendously from their attempt to assist with the government in providing housing for the persons who would have lost their houses during Thomas. The government went into a program or project where they acquired lands with the help of a philanthropic company called Pinnacle Trust. And that was before my time, but the history is there. And they got these lands. They built some homes, some wooden, concrete, and so on, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedroom packages, and they identified those persons who were affected by Thomas, and they provided them a very, very, very reasonable package, house and land packages. We're talking about anywhere between the 17,000, I think 20 something thousand, probably is the most, or 30,000 for house and land. Remember, a 2-3 bedroom concrete house, nice area, and so on. And of course, those persons weren't able to purchase those things even at that low price, given the situation. So that's where the First Jack Credit Union came in and said, you know what, we'll partner with the government, we'll provide loans to those persons and give them a very concessionary interest rate and repayment, talking about a few $100s a month for a few years. Sadly, a lot of people up to a day like today are not paying their loans for that. And what compounded the problem for us was that it was supposed to assist, but the government would have recognized that there was a need for us to have enough funds to make those loans available, provided the Foster Credit Union with a loan, an interest-free loan, mind you. But the Foster Credit Union was supposed to pay back that loan over a number of years when the people pay back their loans. But what we found was a lot of people didn't pay back their loans, and so it was difficult for the Foster Credit Union to even pay back government according to how it was done. And that remained a bad debt for us and a liability for us for several years, until 4 years ago. We had written to successive governments, and finally 4 years ago, when we wrote to this present government, we got a positive response. We were asking them, look, we know we owe you money. The intention was to pay you back. We have every intention to pay you back, but a lot of members are not paying their loans and making it difficult. It has affected us financially because, as I said to you, we had to provide for it. Our members would not have gotten the kind of dividend that they should have received over those years. So can you all consider writing off this debt for us? And I'm pleased to tell you that the government wrote off that debt for us, a debt we're talking about, I think, above, if not more than $500,000. So that helped a bit, but we still have those loans on our books that members are not paying, and that continues to. So we suffer from delinquency like most credit unions, although we're seeing, with our help of our recoveries officers and our loans officers and everybody on board, we're getting persons to pay their loans, albeit at a lower rate than we would like, but we see that movement. The other thing is the competitive nature of credit unions. For a while, credit unions remain under the radar, per se, because they were seen as boutique areas of small investment by members. And so the banks and the bigger financial institutions were not paying attention to us. And we have seen now credit unions have grown significantly and own a sizable portion of the pie now. And now we are in the radar of a lot of the commercial banks and so on who are now saying, hey, those guys are competing with us. They need to be regulated like us. And so we are seeing policies and laws and so on that are causing us to, some people will tell you to lose the identity that credit unions had of a place where people can come and we can help them and be compassionate. We don't have to be hard and fast about, boy, can he pay? And if he doesn't have that amount, and if he has or she doesn't have that debt to service ratio, then no, and that kind of thing. And checking our books and making sure that we are underwriting loans properly and so on. I mean, that clearly is a challenge for us because it's causing us, like I said, to lose our unique identity of not being a commercial bank. But it helps in a way because it causes us to take the business more seriously, because issuing loans is a serious business. Yes, you want to help persons, but there are serious consequences if you give loans to persons and they don't pay it. These are members' monies that we are giving, members' savings that we are giving to people, and we have to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. And even if we want to help our member, if it's not a good investment, we shouldn't. So that's and so these are the three of them: the delinquency, which is a perpetual problem, the competitive nature. So now banks are paying attention. Not are they asking for stiffer regulations for us, but they're now competing for our members now. The same members that they didn't want to look at in the past because they felt that they were risky. Credit unions have shown them that these are some of the people who pay their loans the best, because these people are proud people, and sometimes they would stay and leave important payments behind to make sure they don't default. They don't want their names to be mentioned in any conversation of them not paying their loans. Plus, they also value the support we give them. They appreciate that because they know what it has done for them. So now these people have become attractive to them. So they're now trying to court them and trying to win them away from credit unions. And so that competition is there, the very low interest rates. Some people tell you we had a race to the bottom because our interest rates have moved from the traditional 12%. We now pretty much almost our interest rates are almost, you swear, is a year-long promotion we're running, because that's the competitive nature of it. So that is putting pressure on you as well, because especially as a small credit union, when you're forced to remain attractive by giving low interest rates, the returns on a loan is much smaller. But despite all that, despite the credit union having to have been in an environment where we had two commercial banks and a very large credit union in our backyard, we have continued to grow. We have continued to develop. We now own our own building. Ironically, we've now purchased a building that was once housed one of our major competitors, which is First Caribbean, traditionally Barclays Bank. And you could see the profile of the organization as being, up there in the game and doing well. And we thank our members who continue to believe in us and continue to invest in us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bobb. At this time, we have Sheldon Lionel, 8694. Yes, good morning. I see you. When taking a loan, there is a loan insurance. How does it work and what does it cover?
Yes. It's a very important tool to us because it provides a certain level of guarantee for us as well as the member. So we do it with a company called CUNA, which is a special company, a regional company that was set up to provide financial insurance services to credit unions. So you would take a loan, you provide some level of security via shares and, if need be, an asset, movable or immovable asset. But sometimes that loan is not fully secured. So we would have members take what is called a loan protection insurance for loans for us, is up to $20,000. It covers $20,000, 20 or 40. I think it's $20,000. So you pay a monthly premium. So when you pay your loan premium, you also pay the premium for the insurance, which is very minuscule, very an affordable rate. And if, heaven forbid, that member passes away or becomes permanently disabled and unable to earn an income, we would fill out the necessary documents in the event that the person dies, a death certificate, and so on, send information about the loan. And the insurance would pay off the balance of the loan. And what that means is that whatever shares and whatever property and whatever asset, whether it's a vehicle or whatever that you had securing that loan, would now be given to your beneficiaries. All right. So whatever money that you have left on your account would not, if you without the insurance, we would have to use as much as possible, if not all of it, to try to minimize the debt. But because of the insurance, it will take care of whatever your balance is. And so your shares, your monies that you have there on permanent shares, on savings, like I said, the vehicle that has a bill of sale on it, would now be available to be given to your beneficiaries. If you are permanently disabled and unable to earn an income, you've lost an arm, a leg, an eye, or whatever, they would also pay off your loan balance, and so you would still have access to your funds and your assets and so on. So that helps our members in the way that I just explained, but it also helps us because we're now not stuck with a loan balance that members cannot pay. They have gone, and so we have to write it off. And again, that's an expense to us. So that's the purpose of the insurance. I hope that answers your question, Sheldon.
Yes, I hope so as well. We have Bryanson Solange. Any Christmas promotion loans?
Oh yeah, definitely. We would have our traditional Belle Noel promotion. I think, if my memory serves me well, it normally starts sometime in November and goes on till about January, where we offer members attractive packages to purchase anything that falls within. I think, again, bear with me, I'm not getting any younger. I think the limit was about $40,000, I think. Some persons even use it to buy vehicles and so on. But it's really to help you with anything that you want to do in preparation for Christmas, whether you want to fix your home, buy groceries, buy gifts, travel, buy appliances for your home, etc. So hopefully look out for that in November. If you already have a Belle Noel loan, we do what is called a top-up. So whatever your balance is, you top it up to the 40,000. I think that's the limit. I'm not sure if we're going to consider going higher again, because we are growing, we are developing, and cost of living is going up. So it may very well be higher than $40,000 when we take that decision. But yes, the Christmas loan promotion, as I said to you earlier on, is almost like we have an all-year promotion. So you come in and you sit down with your loans officer and you negotiate your loan, your terms, and we see how we can help you. I've said before, people would ask me, Mr. Bob, if I take a $20,000 loan, how much would I have to pay monthly? And I can't answer that question because of the way we go about it. We would sit down with you and we would tell you $20,000, look at your income, look at your expenses and what you can afford. And if it's within, of course, it has to be within reason. We would work out a repayment for you that is comfortable for you. So I can't tell you, you'll pay $200 every month. No. Come in, look at it. We would give you the different scenarios. If you pay within 3 years, this is what you pay. If you pay within 4 years, this is what you pay. If you pay within 5 years, 6 months, whatever, we would give you various scenarios and let you choose, or we would help choose what is the best for you and for us, bearing in mind that the longer you take to pay your loan, the less you will pay monthly, but the more interest you pay because you're paying interest over a longer period of time. So we explain that to members as well. So yes, the repayment might look more attractive if you go for 5 years as opposed to 3 years, but you're paying more interest. So it's a matter of negotiations and seeing what is best for both you and us. And we're there to serve. Like I said, you are the owner. So when you walk in, you're the owner, and our staff are trained to see you as the owner, regardless of how much shares you have there, how much business you have done with us, how you dress, what name you have, what title you have. We are supposed to look at each member equally.
An interesting question from Sheldon again. If someone is incarcerated, how can they open an account?
Well, I would say this. Somebody can open an account remotely with us. And we open accounts for people who are overseas, for example. We either send the documents to them, they fill it out, they get it notarized, or they have somebody with a power of attorney who can do it. So likewise, if they incarcerate, I'm not sure what the prisons allow in terms of what transactions can be taken behind closed doors, but we've never had to do it. That's why I'm struggling to answer that question. But I imagine if it's allowed by the prison, you could have the documents sent to you, taken to you, have the necessary information filled out, and so on. But yeah, that's probably what could happen.
We have Rafik Alexis. Good morning to you, sir. Any plans to put systems in place to make it convenient for folks in the diaspora to make deposits?
As I said earlier on, we are looking to go online. I'm not sure if it's going to facilitate that as yet. We are working within our means, of course, and trying as much as possible to meet our members' needs. There are ways of making deposits presently. One of the ways is that you could wire transfer money to our account at Bank of St. Lucia, or you could send it via MoneyGram or Western Union to somebody who can make the deposits. Okay, the two options, the two last options are once you have somebody you can trust, because that can be very risky that you send money to persons and you're expecting it to be on the account and it's not there. But the wire transfer is safer, albeit there's an expense to it like MoneyGram. So we give you our particulars at Bank of St. Lucia. Through your bank, whatever, in wherever you are in the world, you could wire that to our so the Forshida Credit Union account at Bank of St. Lucia. That money shows up on our account, is posted on our account, so it would show Rafik Alexis. What's up, Rafik? Yeah, it will show Rafik Alexis wire transferred X amount of money. We would now do the transfer from our bank account to Rafik Alexis account at the Forshida Credit Union. So it can be done presently, but in terms of are we looking at some other way of doing it? For now, it's not within our immediate radar, except for, like I said, we're seeing how quickly we can implement the online banking, which may very well facilitate that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bobb. At this time, 20 minutes moving up to the hour of 11 a.m. in Surface Solution, of course, the Eastern Caribbean. I hope your questions, issues, concerns have been met. Thank you so much. Mr. Bobb, let's take a look at community impact and future plans. And of course, we know the credit union has always been community-oriented. Can you share some of the outreach or developmental initiatives? And of course, we know what speaks dearly to you as a former educator as well is the scholarship program.
That's right. So we are mandated by our principles, and the cooperative has a principle called support for community, something to that effect, where there is an obligation for credit unions to invest in communities. And we do that for a number of ways. We do a lot of sponsorship and donations. And on very rare occasions do we get a donation from whether it's an individual who is a member or an organization who is looking to do something, or a government institution, a school or so on, for support for the program. So we do that all year long. I don't have any requests made by any school in Soufriere that we have not, whether it's for sports, whether it's for graduation, whether it's for outings, projects and so on, we support that.
Okay, just to maybe for you to share some light in terms of the donation aspect of it, you do not necessarily have to be a member.
Usually the board looks at, are you a member? So if it's a personal thing, in fact, one of the things we stay away from, if you're going into a commercial venture.
It's strictly members.
Yeah. If you go into a commercial venture, whether you're a member or not, so I'm looking to open a business, I want a donation, or I'm looking to do a fund, a business venture, profit-making venture, and so on, we would stay away from that. We would probably try to assist you with a loan if you're a member. If it's a fundraiser for somebody who is ill, it helps. Usually, if you're a member, we'll assist for sure, if it's a fundraiser. If it's somebody that we recognize within the community, that would need that kind of help and that we believe has that kind of profile that needs help, we would still do it. But usually, if it's a member, it's almost automatic, especially if it's a fundraiser. So if somebody has a medical bill to go and pay, we are more attracted to making a donation to a fundraising because it shows that there is an intention to try to help yourself than for you to say, well, I have a bill, can you contribute some money towards my bill? I'm not doing anything. I just want everybody to help me as much as possible. So yes, but if you're a member for sure, it's almost a guarantee that we will assist you in whatever way we can. If you're not a member, again, we will have to look a little deeper and see whether it's something that we can afford to do. So we do that. The scholarships, like I said, we build a lot in education because education is, as far as we're concerned, the key to uplifting a community, a family, and an individual and society. So we provide support for that. Health, like I said, community initiatives. We support the foundation on a lot of its initiatives, whether it's Carnival, Journée Creole, jazz, because we recognize those things have significant benefits to the community that we're part of. Housing assistance, and so on. We would look at on a case-by-case basis and see if and how we can help. There's an idea that I've been toying with for a while. COVID kind of knocked it off track, but I'm hoping that next year I'm going to make a proposal to the board and have it in the budget that we have a certain amount available. I'm thinking maybe in the region of $5,000 that we can provide to, and we can ask for project proposals. So you have particularly aimed at community groups, development groups, sporting groups within your community. So like there's a Forbenier team. Within Forbenier, there's a need for a particular project. And we can send in your project proposal, we could consider it, and we could provide you with as much as X amount, let's say $5,000 towards that project. But you must show that you as a group is also contributing towards that project, whether it's financially, whether it's through fundraisers, whether it's in kind, in work, and so on. That project. So for example, there's a project to fix a community park, and the group is saying that we'll undertake that project, but we need some financial support. So I'm hoping that I can pitch that to the board, and it can be included in our project, in our budget. And we have a period of time where we invite persons, groups to submit projects for the community, where we can support them in implementing those projects. Yeah.
Thank you for that. What are some of the future goals or projects the society hopes to achieve as it approaches its 20th anniversary?
40th, yes, 40th.
Well, I was looking at the 19th AGM.
Oh yeah, but it's 40 years in existence. Yeah. So as I said to you, in terms of the organization, we are looking at online banking as something that we would like to happen sooner rather than later, and if it's financially viable for us. The ATM card move, we at present have an ATM card like many credit unions, but you're only limited to using it within 4 ATMs on the island. So the debit card, the international debit card, is what the phase that we are at in that project. We, as in the league and several other credit unions, about 10 credit unions. It's very expensive. We have looked at several options, and the project is going on, and the 4 larger credit unions are looking, because of their ability to meet those costs, whether they could start off and then the smaller credit unions can catch on. So that is something within our radar, to be able to give members access to the money via an international debit card. In terms of project, I said to you, if I can convince the board that we can have this in our project, we can look at this competition among groups for a project and financing for a project within the community. We would continue to develop as the need arises, and that need sometimes changes very quickly based on policies and procedures and regulations that are forced upon us, for want of a better phrase. There's a new act that governs the credit union that has been passed sometime last year or year before, and it's not really in full implementation mode as yet, because we still have not passed the regulations that would govern those acts, that new acts. But in there, would have certain things that are required by credit unions to fulfill if they want to remain legitimate and operational. Yeah.
And of course, for your mental well-being, the credit union also profits an opportunity for people to get together, socialize, and have a fun sports. Can you share
Yes.
the
Oh,
recent
yes.
activity?
Yes. I'm still paying for that. The league has, I think, for the past 2 years, organized several activities, social activities for credit unions to participate in. We had one about 2 Mondays ago. It's a fun sports among credit unions, and it was held in Soufrière. The same weekend of Bazaar, unfortunately, and the same weekend and the same day as the major fun run walk that is held, Fun Strides by Franklin Solomon and his gym. So there was some competition, but we still had several credit unions participate in that. And I'm pleased to announce that the Forsyth Credit Union emerged the winners of that fun sports for 2025. If you go to our Soufrière branch, you would see us displaying our trophies very prominently in the front. So we're the champions, and we also won several events. So we won the football, we won the volleyball. I think we won the lime and spoon. Our very own Sarah Clement participated. We won, I think, the obstacle race. We came second, and we won the what do you call it, the sack race, and so on. So you see those trophies displayed prominently there.
Congratulations.
And we're hoping that next year we can defend that. And but it's open not just to, it wasn't open just to staff and thing, but also members. We invited members. So I want to thank those persons, those members, the staff members, and so on, who participated and caused us to be victorious at that fun sports. But we also have our social activities among our staff, and sometimes we organize it for our members as well. So we've done our boat rides, we've done our day passes. I think we're planning something soon. They would talk about an ATV ride and so on, because you have to maintain that level of fun at work. I mean, you meet our team, and I'm sure people would attest to that. Our team are made up of a number of very friendly, very fun people, and I could tell you as a manager, we have a blast at work. It's not just all about work. And I want to big up my team, both at Forsyth and Soufrière, made up of very committed persons, but know how to have a good time and know how to balance seriousness with fun and so on. So it makes working with them a pleasure.
We have Caroline Bobb who's watching. Good
Who is that
morning to
lady?
you.
I'm not sure who that lady is. Caroline Bobb. She has the same surname with me. Okay. Could be my mom.
You know.
Yeah.
Any final messages to your members and the wider community who continue to support the society?
I want to thank them. Those who are members, I want to thank them tremendously. As I said, I'm sure there are lots of other. Well, I'm sure there are lots of other choices that they could go to for their financial services, but they have joined us. They have stuck with us. They have stuck with us, and because of them, we are seeing tremendous growth. This organization now is boasting of an asset base of approaching $50 million. All right. We grew last year by almost $6 million, in fact, over $6 million. This year we are already surpassing last year's figures. So it speaks to our members patronizing our members, showing confidence in us and so on. And we want to thank them for that. And we want to ask them to continue to patronize us, continue to encourage persons to join. Those persons who are not members of credit unions as yet, or even if you are a member of a credit union, it doesn't hurt to join another one so that you don't have all your eggs in one basket. The Forsyth Credit Union has been tried and tested. We have the ability, as we have shown, to take care of our members' needs, to run our organization, to keep up with all the necessary standards and laws that govern us. As a matter of fact, this year, one of our main highlights was the fact that we presented financial statements, well, the auditors presented financial statements that were unqualified. So we were finally able to get over this tremendous hurdle that has plagued a lot of financial credit unions of having to report using the IFRS 9 standard. And it's a very complex standard, made more complex by this particular way of doing it. But I won't go into the technical aspect of it. So we are proud to report that we have met all the obligation, all the necessary requirements of reporting our financial statements. And so we're very proud of that. So this organization has shown that it has persons who are capable of running it and running it well and successfully. All we need are members to continue to believe, new members to join. There are tremendous benefits, as I said. When you join a credit union, you become an owner. And every single member is an owner, and every single member is considered equal in the eyes of our organization. And that is governed by a principle called one member, one vote, regardless of the amount that you have there. If you're not a member, come in, become a member. If you're a member, become a member of another credit union. And I guarantee you will reap the benefits of that. Come in and speak to us. I know there are difficulties in terms of some of the documents required to join. Speak to us. We can see how we can help you with that, and make it as easy as possible to join the credit union and become benefit from being a member of the credit union. You will not regret.
Okay. Two things. One, before you leave, can you walk us through what is required to become a member?
Right. So we are territorial in nature. So there are credit unions that are professionally based in nature. For a teacher's credit union, you have to be a teacher or some kind of relationship to a teacher. The civil service with Janu, you have to be a civil servant or relation to a civil servant. For us, we're territorial in that we call the Forces Credit Union. Now, don't be misguided by the name Forces Credit Union. We have, since the inception, widened our scope to include the entire Soufrière area. So usually you would have to be above 16 to be a member. Persons who are below 16, you can open a depositor's account first when you become 16, because legally you cannot contract somebody to become a member below the age of an adult. So you have to be 16. You have to have some stake in Soufrière, born in Soufrière, raised in Soufrière, work in Soufrière, have a close relative in Soufrière, do business in Soufrière, own land or property in Soufrière. There must be some kind of stake that you can show in Soufrière to join. And if you meet that criteria, then all you need to do is to have ideally 2 forms of ID. That has been relaxed a bit, so we can work with 1 form of ID, because one of the first things you have to do is establish that you know who the person is as a member legally. So 1 form of picture ID, your ID card, a passport, driver's license. The farmers have a special ID, and fishermen have a special ID that we also use. And proof of address. So the other thing you need to establish is where does that person live? And that usually, a proof of address is normally, we are not able to use the ID card and so on again, because the ID card and so on have a long span in terms of its relevance. And between 10 years, somebody can live anywhere. So ideally, a utility bill in their name, water, electricity, telephone bill, recent one that shows the name and the address. You can get a bank statement. We don't want to see your transactions, but you can just see where they have the name and the address. You can get a letter from one of the institutions that says that this is where your address. We can use that. Or if you don't have that and you live with somebody, you don't have a utility bill in the name, it's in your mother's name, you can have a special letter prepared saying, I, so-and-so is the mother of Cabrina Epifan. I am guaranteed that she lives with me at whatever address, and here is a copy of the bill and a copy of the ID. If that fails, we can also do a site visit and prepare a site visit form that we say we visit the place, we see where you live, and this is where you live, and so on. And once you have that, then we can, all you need is at least $115. So the $100, as I said earlier, we use to purchase permanent shares, because you need a minimum of $100 to make you a member. The other $15 we use, I think, $5 to start off your shares, and the $10 is between your registration fee and your book. So out of the $115, you retain $105 as your money, and the other $10 is used for the purchase of the book and the registration fee. You could start off with more if you want. Throughout the course, we expect you to save. You could buy more permanent shares. The more permanent shares you have, the more dividends you receive when we pay dividends.
Thank you so much for that. And I know.
How's that?
I've been longing to. I know.
Oh, that.
Yes, that. And
She
finally,
promised to do it the last time. I've not been promising to do that to
yeah,
become
but
a
I am
member.
still
I'll
there.
bring the
'Cause
form for
don't
you.
you see my signature going out and
I'll
stuff?
bring the form for you.
Don't you see my signature? I'm there.
Okay, you there? All
The
right.
club. I'm there.
Okay.
Yes. And finally, how can persons who wish to become members or learn more get in touch or visit the office?
Yeah, well, we have a website that you could visit. It's at fsjcu.com, or if you type in Foster Jack Credit Union, it'll pop up. You get a lot of information there, from our history to our mission, our vision, types of loans. You have a loan calculator that could probably help you calculate your loan, albeit that at the end of the day, it will still be based on your interaction with the loans officer. You have information about the organization and so on. We have to do a better job, clearly, of updating our website, but there is a lot of information on our website. You could call at 459-7706, and it will give you an option whether you want the Sufra or the Foster Jack branch. Sufra branch is extension 1, Foster Jack branch is 2. You could also email us at info@fsjcu.com, and we'll respond to you. Or you could walk in. We have an open door approach. Only thing that would prevent you from seeing me immediately is if I have somebody else in the office with me. And if that is the case, I can have you speak to any other capable member or very capable staff to provide information to you, or call you back or something. But we have that kind of policy. You don't need to make an appointment. It helps to make an appointment because you can guarantee that you meet the person there, whether it's a loans officer or myself. But if you walk in and you say, I want to speak to the manager, and the manager is available, he will speak to you for sure. Loans officer will speak to you. We will try to facilitate you as much as possible.
11 a.m. in Surface St. Lucia, and of course the Eastern Caribbean. What would you like persons to take away from this discourse here today?
I'm hoping that they better understand what a credit union is. They better understand where we stand in terms of the Foster Jack Credit Union. They better understand that there is tremendous benefit to join a credit union. Those persons who are taking loans with us, I'm hoping that they understand the importance of paying their loans. I'm hoping that our staff, understand. I know they understand their role, but that they do feel appreciated, not just by management and the board, but also by the members, because we're looking after the interests and trying to facilitate them. I'm really hoping that those who have not joined the credit union would join the credit union and benefit like all our members do.
Thank you. At this time, we want to say thank you to all those of you who sent in your questions, concerns, comments. Sheldon, Bryson, Rafik, and even Caroline. Thank you. Sheldon did say, I will join. So this is something you can now look forward to.
All right.
And
let's hope you're not bluffing me like somebody else.
I am just trying to have a nice conversation to end it nicely.
I give you that responsibility. Take Sabrina to the Foster Jack Credit Union to join. You'll join too, right? He's a member. Long time. Yeah, you're not speaking good things about us, man. That's why Sabrina have not joined us.
I don't know, but she know already.
All right.
She knows that one of the best.
When next you getting paid? When next you're getting paid?
Next.
Yeah.
After the 25th of this month.
All right. On the 25th of this month, I'm expecting Miss Epiphan to be with $115, yeah, $115. Yeah. You know she can do more than $250, right? Yeah. For several sources of income.
3 minutes after 11 in Surface Solution Eastern Caribbean. I want to say a special thank you to Sheldon for actually putting forth the motion of becoming a member. And to all of the members, I want to say kudos as well. And you all had a successful 19th AGM. To the general manager, kudos. Continue the good work, the upliftment, the empowerment. And in any and everything, we need to bring the spiritual aspect of everything as well.
Indeed.
Seek him first, let everything thereafter follow.
Indeed. Nothing happens without the grace of the Lord and the presence of the Lord. So we always start our AGM with prayers,
And
we have a gentleman.
you knew what I was getting at. I was just about to ask you to end nicely.
Yeah,
End nicely for spiritual quote. You
wanna-
heard him?
Oh yeah, so you want to do that?
No,
wanna
no,
do-
you.
For me.
And nicely, yes.
But I mean, I want to thank the Lord for the gift of life, and making it possible for us to get up every day and to go to work diligently and to try to see how we can assist our members in accomplishing their goals. We have to be very grateful and thankful to the Lord that we have been able to see 29 years so far of continued success and development, continued ensuring that we meet the needs of our members. Heavenly Father, we ask you to continue to bless our staff, the board, so that they can, when they deliberate, that they make decisions that are in the best interest of the organization. And our members also make the right decisions for themselves and their families. It's very easy that when people know that they have access to loans, Heavenly Father, that they can probably make what may be determined as not the best decision for the organization. So we ask that you continue to guide us and bless us and keep us safe. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. This concludes our house guest for the 16th day of October 2025, Mr. Darnell Bobb, the General Manager for Saint-Jacques Credit Union. Thank you. To you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been House Guest. Please continue to keep it locked until next week, Thursday, God's willing. To have a blessed and a productive day. We're out.